Thank you for joining our webinar, From Your Idea to the Serial Production of 3D Parts. Our speaker today is Luca Facchini, R&D Project Manager at Lincotek. Lincotek Medical is a fully integrated global contract manufacturer for the orthopedic, trauma, spine, and dental markets. The company provides a wide range of services and true concept-to-launch support to its OEM customers. Having championed innovation in additive manufacturing solutions since 2006, the company launched Lincotek Additive in 2020 to offer its business partners a complete additive service.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luca Facchini, and I am an R&D project manager at Lincotek Additive. Lincotek is a contract manufacturer focused on integrated supply chain. We started with thermal spray coatings about 50 years ago in Italy. And today we have more than 1,100 employees and 16 manufacturing sites globally. And now, in addition to thermal spray, we offer design, casting and polishing, machining, and additive manufacturing. Lincotek Group operates in medical, aerospace, and IGT segments. We produce and commercialize our own plasma spray equipment as well. And in the last 15 years, we gained extensive experience in additive manufacturing. In fact, we invested a lot in research and development, and we still invest. We have engineers working on it and also working on validations and co-design. And we are able to handle different materials used in medical applications, such as titanium 6-4 and cobalt chrome. Just this month, we have helped the OEMs with 2 products through the FDA. These involve the product level validations to generate data and reports to satisfy FDA requirements as laid out in guidance documents for AM. At the same time, we know very well what serial production is and how to manage it. Today, we have 25 AM machines globally, making in excess of 110,000 implants per year, 70% of which is for large joints. To give you an idea of the scale of our AM operation, we consumed in excess of 14 tons of titanium powder for AM. In approaching additive manufacturing production, you have to keep in mind that it's not just about technology, since the process itself is just a piece of a manufacturing route. Co-design, powder management, and build preparation are basic pre-process operations, and they are as essential as post-process operations like heat treatment or machining. And of course, parts cannot leave the plant if they didn't pass quality controls, and if they are not properly packed. It can seem trivial, but it's not. Supply chain of AM is perhaps more complicated than that which deals with raw materials. Most facilities accept raw materials based on chain of custody, but with AM, it's mandatory to source from dependable supplier who respect ASTM standards and are dedicated to quality. In addition, at least at Lincotek, no powder batch is allowed to go on the shop floor unless AM parts made using that batch satisfy ASTM standard requirements. In the next slides, I will explain how we AM engineers manage the supply chain aspect of AM from an engineering perspective, ensuring quality and reliability. Creating net-shape lattice structure is for sure one of the best features of additive manufacturing. In 2017, FDA stated that about 68% of AM devices has a complex PODUS structure. About this, in Lincotek, we deal with different 3D CAD files and dedicated software, and we have our own device master file. This is especially useful for US customers. Anyway, AM has strong points as well as limitations, as any other production technology. And the experience, in this case, plays a basic role in managing the limitations and exalting the strong points. We know that design shall take into account several details and aspects. For instance, it's important to clearly know which surface will be finished or tooled and which not, and the spatial orientation of the parts, as well as the placing of supports, will be related to these aspects. As an example, here I have represented a possible 3D geometry. Such geometry has many illustrative attributes. For instance, sharp edges can be critical as points of stress intensification and crack nucleation. And generally, in powder bed fusion, low-angle surfaces are not self-supporting, and then extra supports are needed. The minimum obtainable size is related to the beam melting pool, and so there's a limitation to the minimum reachable thickness of thin geometries. But there are many other examples. For instance, the orientation and the size of through holes are crucial, since both support removal and powder evacuation can be hard to do, and so on. I am making these points to illustrate the scrutiny we put the customer's CAD files. Our ultimate goal is to get this part through notified bodies, and this analysis helps to ensure that these parts will meet performance criteria and have a stronger chance of approval for clinical use. Of course, the raw material is a determinant for the success of the build and also for the properties of the final part. The grain side distribution of the powder, its morphology, and its chemical composition are some of the features that need to be optimized. But many other procedures, such as powder storage and handling and its recycling, have to be properly managed. For example, our master file discusses the change in mechanical properties as the number of reuses increases. Well, a good build is the combination of different aspects. First of all, any item calls for a specific parameter set. So the beam power, the scan speed, the scan path, the focusing of the beam will change if you're melting a solid block instead of a elastic structure. And these parameters will be different at the core of the part and on the contours. The spatial orientation of the parts and their distribution on the building plate can affect the thermal history of the build and the mechanical solicitation of the parts during the process. And this will impact on the final surface quality, on the residual stresses, and on the dimensional consistency. The orientation of the part also affects the need of supports. Since supports help in mechanical anchoring and in heat conduction, but at the same time, their application is strictly related to the orientation of the part, and of course, their use will also determine the surface quality and roughness of the as-built part. Even if the supplier and the model are the same, each machine is different from the others. So each machine can produce statistically equivalent parts, but only if process parameters and offsets are properly adjusted. This requires a lot of expertise and, of course, a lot of work on tuning. Our master file talks about equivalence of the output of our machines. This huge work we have done over many years give comfort to OEMs that at least at Lincotek, they are getting equivalent supply chain regardless of which machine is being used. And just to clarify, we are not saying that each supplier and each technology are equivalent. They aren't. That's wrong. We are saying that we maintain our production line where these machines become equivalent in output. It must be said that also the preparation of the machine before each build is critical for the process. Among other things, the planarity of the building plane, the cleaning, and good powder feeding are crucial for the outcome, and so operator training is essential. Well, let's talk about validation. Validation is a first step to control and dominate the AM process. But the next step is represented by the study of production data and log files that have to be collected and analyzed for modeling, implementing improvements, for performing controls, and also for predicting events. So big data help us in running our process. Talking about validation, today FDA and international standards organizations provide recommendations for carrying out validations. And we deal with this. Validation of our processes goes through some steps. During the IQ, the installation of the process equipment is checked. Then during OQ, the OQ shall verify the equipment operations and demonstrate the effectiveness of the process. POQ is carried out to challenge the determined process limits. Then finally, PQ shall verify the soundness and the reproducibility of the process. And all this information are collected into a master file. Lincotek adopts a two-level approach. At the process level, we verify the effectiveness of the process itself, the compliance with the standard requirements, and so on. The access to this proprietary information is possibly authorized on the basis of agreements with the OEM. The second level is a device level in which the operational qualification and the performance qualification are drafted by Lincotek and reviewed by the OEM and directly pertain to the product. This is very common with our US-based customers, and this approach has helped us in addressing FDA questions. Jumping back to the chain, post-processing is as important as pre-process operations. Heat treatment is usually performed for stabilizing the microstructure and removing the residual stress, and it's critical for the final properties of the material. It works fine for this, but at the same time can lower the yield strength of the material, and this has to be dealt with. Many parameters and features have to be defined and managed, such as temperature and soaking time, the vacuum level for high vacuum treatments, the pressure in case of hot isostatic pressing. The message is heating technology is complex and tricky and requires careful preventive maintenance and a lot of expertise. Since the parts are welded to the building platform after the process, they have to be detached. EDM wire cutting or bend saw can be used depending on the need of precision instead of speed. However, when possible, an accurate design of supports can make the detachment possible even without cutting. Then after cutting, the parts are ready for going through Xclean, That's the Lincotek's validated process developed to clean from the residual metallic powder in completely dry conditions. Here we have illustrated some tibial and femoral components of knee prosthesis produced by additive manufacturing and then tooled and polished. Actually, Lincotek offers the combination of these operations in Europe as well as in the US. Expertise in additive manufacturing together with skills in machining result in an improved mindful design. Moreover, since we are aware of the importance of keeping AM lattice structure clean and free of contaminants, we gained experience in dry casting of titanium 6-4 and cobalt chrome, and we also studied specific systems for protecting and shielding the net from lubricant. Our operators are trained and skilled for manual finishing. This impacts on several further operations depending on surface quality, such as laser marking. We already talked about the continuous control of the process by managing big data. Final controls, such as visual inspections, dimensional checks, and mechanical testing on coupons, feed this collection of data, as well as they determine the quality of our parts. After the quality assurance says yes, parts are ready for packaging, sterilization if required, and then for shipping. So in conclusion, we have seen that additive manufacturing production is not just about technology. AM can print complex 3D shapes, but there are some limitations, and co-design becomes crucial for overcoming. From this point of view, skills in both AM and machining take design to another level. Additive manufacturing processes, as well as post-process operations like heat treatment, are technologically advanced and can be tricky. So ability in design for builds, preparation of machines, and the managing of this post-processing are essential. We see that big data can help in process control and improvements too. But overall, I can say in few words that expertise, skills, and training are the keys for succeeding at each step of the chain. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you to Luca, and thank you to those watching. To learn more about Lincotek Medical and additive services, visit lincotekmedical.com or contact them using the link on the webinar session page. To watch more education on additive manufacturing, visit ontechexpo.com.